Welcome, Flyers fans. You're listening to Chris Mayer, Flyers Fan Mania 93 on YouTube.
Alright, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I am back with another video here. So today, a little bit of a different video. Every once in a while in the summer, I really like doing these. These are so fun for me to make. Basically, if you're new to the channel, you're new clicking on this video. My name is Chris. I do a bunch of Flyers content here on YouTube, from game reviews, discussion videos. I do a weekly podcast, all that different stuff. And in the summer, when it's kind of dead like it is right now, and in the coming days, we're going to actually be having some hockey with the World Juniors starting. But today, I wanted to do a video, an old game review from the 1978 Stanley Cup playoffs, the preliminary round, Game 1 between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Colorado Rockies. This game is from Tuesday, April 11th, 1978, played at the Spectrum. Again, for people that don't know me, I have, done certain things like this in the past where I've kind of gone back and looked at old Flyers games, and there's a playlist on YouTube that has like 160 videos, right, of just old Flyers games. And throughout the coming weeks, I'm going to be doing a couple more of them. I really do enjoy this stuff. It's fun for me. It's fun to look back at old games. Now, the Flyers did win this game, this specific game against the Rockies, 3-2. And just before we get into the game, I want to talk about that season for both teams real quick. So the Flyers, coached by Fred Shiro, they went 45-20-15 with 105 points. That was second in the Patriot Division. They scored 296 goals, which was fourth out of all 18 teams, and gave up 200, which was second out of all 18 teams. Regular season matchup against Colorado, they went 3-2-0 in 5 games in the regular season. The Flyers had a 23.29 power play percentage and an 80.59 percentage on the penalty kill. They took a lot of penalties. They were I believe they were the number 1 team in penalty minutes that year, which is, obviously understandable. And they actually took a lot of penalties, but also had a really good penalty kill. Team leaders that year, Bobby Clark had 89 points in 79 games, Bill Barber with 41 goals, and Rick McLeish had 70 points in 76 games. So essentially the LCB line still kind of together, not as much during the regular season, but was together for most of this playoff game. Was pretty much having a lot of the Flyers' success throughout the season as well. So the Rockies, they're coached by Pat Kelly. They were 19-40-21, only 59 points, and they get into the playoffs with only 19 wins, second in the Smythe Division. They scored 257 goals. That was 9th out of 18, and they gave up 305, which was 13th out of 18. So not great. Looking at the Rockies roster, they're very young. They only had 2 players over the age of 30. They had a couple guys that were like 28, 29, but only 2 guys that were at least 30 or older. Gary Courteau, who was their captain, and Doug Favell, who was a former Flyers goaltender from 1968 to 73. And he also played 78 and 79 with the Philadelphia Firebirds, which is why I have the shirt on. Team leaders and special teams for them, they went 22.58% on the power play, so actually a pretty good power play. Penalty kill was a little bit worse than the Flyers, 77.64% on the penalty kill. Their leading scorer was Wolf Payment, 87 points in 80 games. He was a team leader. Barry Beck, who was a 20-year-old defenseman, had 60 points, and Van Boxmeer had 54 points as a 25-year-old defenseman. So, again, the Rockies were more of a younger team. They pretty much gave the Flyers all they could really handle, if I'm being honest with you, in this game from when I was watching it. Early on, it was more Flyers controlled the play. Clark had a couple really good, excellent defensive plays. Almost went end-to-end. McLeish had a chance early. The Rockies only had 4 defensemen suit up for this game. Hockey in the 70s was so different. I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video, too, because there were so many things that caught my eye. Selesky had a nice shot in tight, and it was a pretty nice pass by Rick LaPointe just to get it over to him. Rick LaPointe, the defenseman. Shot ended up going high glove. Holmgren ended up starting a scrum, and then Jimmy Watson, they were kind of going at it, and then it was really all Flyers early on, like I said, for the first 5-6 minutes of the game. So 10-minute misconduct for both players, Holmgren and Ron DeLome. Colorado would get a power play. Flyers had a really good penalty kill, though. I mean, they really didn't give them anything. Up until this point, Colorado didn't have a actually official shot on net, but the Flyers ended up killing that one off. Perrant had a really nice save late on a slap shot with around 2 or 3 seconds left. So, outside of that, it was pretty much it. Shots were 3-2 Flyers with around 10:58 left. So around 11 minutes left, only 5 shots in the game. It wasn't really anything crazy. Kind of took the Flyers a little bit. They had a lot of chances early, but they were more one and done. Bridgman had a chance on a 3-on-2 rush. It was a nice save by Favell, who was really good in this game. He had 41 saves with 44 shots. Flyers would get 2 power plays there. A Van Boxmeer delay game from behind the net where it was a 3-on-2 rush, and the puck went behind the net, and he just went down on his knees and put his hand over it. Like, it's some of the things that I saw in this game, it would be mind-boggling to see in today's NHL. It was just crazy to me. Flyers, again, right after that power play, they had a couple scoring chances, didn't score though, and then Gary Dornhofer ended up getting tripped up, so then the Flyers would go on another power play, and then they would get the goal to make it 1-0. Rick McLeish scored on a quick wrist shot. It was the Flyers' 9th shot of the game. That was McLeish's 5th, so he had 5 of the Flyers' 9 shots. Clark passed it over right to the left wing side, and then the left shot ended up going glove side. It was the left side of the ice, went glove side. McLeish is obviously a left-hand shot, so it was kind of a weird goal to give up today if you were to see that, but today might be like a routine save. But again, McLeish had a really good shot back down and ended up scoring and give the Flyers a 1-0 lead. Then the Flyers kind of got into some penalty trouble. There was a hooking call on Mel Bridgman, and then they would get a 5-on-3 for 9 seconds, and then end up tying the game to Perry would end up scoring on a power play goal on a slot shot, and ended up going 5-hole on Bernie Perron. Daly ended up cross-checking for the second penalty, make it 5-on-3, and then Clark had a couple nice plays on the penalty kill to get the puck out, but they would end up scoring. Kind of like essentially like that rush, kind of going back into the zone of that kind of last couple seconds of the 5-on-3. So overall, I mean, it was a pretty good first period. The Flyers had some rhythm, but after the power plays, they couldn't really get it back. It definitely was an entertaining game early on. Second period really wasn't much going on. McLeish had a chance in front in the slot off a nice hustle by Leach to cancel out the icing call. Then Leach ended up being offside on a play where he clearly, to me, I mean, obviously it's so easy when you're sitting on your TV watching this game from, obviously it's from 1978 and I'm watching this in 2022, but that was clearly onside. He dragged his foot. So that shouldn't have been called off, and the Flyers might have been able to at least get a scoring chance or maybe even score, but they would get a goal late in this period with 29 seconds left to go up 2-1 in a pretty back-and-forth second. Kelly, and actually before that goal, Kelly had a really nice setup, but nobody was in front, and the Flyers had a couple of them plays where they were kind of trying to get guys in front of the net, and they couldn't really get it to anybody. Again, if someone was there, they would have scored. So again, Bob Kelly did that there, and then Bobby Clark would end up making it 2-1. It was a shot. He ended up scoring off of an original shot by Reggie Leach. Jimmy Watson followed it up, centered it back out in front off the rebound, kind of like he was trying to wrap it around, but I believe he ended up getting the stick lifted, and then Clark was just right there, slam dunk at the side of the net. So 2-1. That was scored at 19:31, so 21 seconds left, making it 2-1. So third period, and essentially what you want to see in the third period then is you want to go out and you want to essentially shut it down. Don't give Colorado much, and the Flyers were not able to do that. Early on, it was pretty much all Rockies. They were good on the forecheck. They kind of had the Flyers hemmed in for the first 5. Probably around the first 5 minutes or so. And then Clark had a nice play on the back check. It was a good stick lift on a slap shot dump. But besides that, they would end up tying the game. Dave Hudson scored in front of a turnover. It was just a bad play from right out of the corner. Essentially just trying to backhand it out. The flex goes to a Rockies player, sends it in front, and Hudson would end up scoring right there on the rebound. Wasn't much Bernie Perron could do there, who didn't really face much rubber in this game, only 18 shots for the Rockies, but they ended up scoring here a minute 48 into the third at 18-12. So it was a 2-2 game. And then right around the 14:40 mark, like I said, it was all Rockies. They had pretty much most of the momentum, and then the Flyers just came on. I mean, they had so many different chances here. They had a really good shift that started. It was a Barber chance from the slot, and then a Clark shot from the point right after his play. Barber circled around the net and got his own rebound. And then right after that, again, like I said, it was all Flyers. Bridgman had a really nice move off the wall, set up LaPointe. He fanned on it. I was so surprised that did not go in the net. It was a beautiful move. It was kind of like a little toe drag by Bridgman through the feet of the Rockies defender. Ended up scoring, and Doug Favell was just like out to dry at this point. Clark had a rebound on Selesky's shot that just went wide, literally just trickled right past the post. Again, it was all Flyers. Mike Kitchener and Kevin McCarthy had roughing, which was still 5-on-5, which I thought was a little interesting. Now, if there was offsetting liners, it'd be 4-on-4. Around 9 minutes left, still tied to 2. DuPont had a chance off the rush. He really can skate. That was one thing I noticed. High backhand shot. Clark had a really nice hockey IQ play for Barber, where essentially, they were in the zone, and Barber was driving the net, and Clark was kind of fading out towards the blue line, and he just threw a soft kind of wrist or saucer pass in the vicinity of where Barber was going. Tried to dive for it, ended up just going, just a little bit wide. And again, the Flyers just had chance after chance, and then Favell was keeping the Rockies in this over 10 minutes without a shot around the 14-minute mark. So really, after their goal, the Flyers just essentially dominated and really turned it on. Essentially just like a flip of the switch. They almost scored late off Joe Bladen's shot from the point. Favell fell back on it, covered it. They ended the third with 17 shots on net. I mean, they were just dominant in that third period, and it only took them 53 seconds in to overtime of this one to score. Mel Bridgman scored off of a shot from Jimmy Watson off the point. Ended up kind of, deflecting off of Favell and ended up going behind the net. Bridgman went on for the wraparound, got stocked, and then ended up scoring right there on the second attempt to make it a 3-2 win for the Flyers and the overtime winner. So again, this game was really fun. Again, the Flyers kind of went into it, again, a younger Rockies team. Flyers obviously being a little bit experienced, being at, a little bit experienced, winning 2 Stanley Cups a couple years before and then going back in 76. They had experience, but overall the Flyers would end up losing in the third round, which was called the semifinals back then. Now it will be the Eastern Conference Final, but they ended up losing to Boston, who ended up losing in 6 to Montreal in the Stanley Cup Final. So Montreal will win the Cup this year, but again, in this game, right, 70s hockey was very entertaining. A lot of things that you see that just, would really go away now. The constant holding and hooking when you're skating, the referees just stopping the play when the puck is just on the wall. Everything is so different, from defensemen just pinching and then having, it was just the craziest thing. You'd have Reggie Leach, who'd be a winger, Rick McLeish, whoever, be starting a breakout up the ice as a winger. And you never see that today. It's more system and trying to drop the play back and things like that. So all of it is different. And, I thought Doug Favell, who obviously played for the Flyers for a little bit, was really good in this game. Clark, Barber, DuPont, a lot of those guys were good, but overall I thought Bob Kelly was pretty good. Oris Kendrick, he really surprised me. He was really moving. He was a really good center. So again, I thought there was a lot of cool things at this. And again, this is just fun. I like doing this stuff. It's always fun to go back and look on old games and things like that. But let me know what you guys think below. If you were to at least watch this game or see any of it live. But again, if you remember this game, if you saw it live, or if you were maybe seeing the replay on YouTube, if there's anything like that, let me know down below. If you have any memory of this game, or even if you were in attendance, because I know that I do have some older Flyers fans as well that kind of watch my stuff as well. So again, I had a really fun time doing this. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are below, and I will talk to you all again soon.